I had this new sleeping bag thing. What do you call it?
Like a thermal one?
No, like what do you call the sleeping bags on legs?
Oh, bed chair?
Yeah.
You've got like a sleep system. A bed chair on legs is better though.
I
sleeping
prefer
bag
that.
on legs.
On the
And
floor,
I
that
would
is-
say that is one of the best sleeping bag on legs I've ever seen.
I would say that.
Okay, what's going on here? Give me
I do know that.
What
I know
are
the
you
backstory
doing?
to this, actually.
Recently learned about raps and
Yeah.
my mate asked me if I want to go on his spod rod, and I was like, "What, you're coming on to me?" I was like, what's your spod rod? When you get over 10 million followers, you get a diamond play button.
Oh.
We're close lads, aren't we?
Yeah, get in there.
We got it.
We'll get there.
Not long now. Not long now.
You're going to blow up soon.
Is there any tips you would give to somebody that's just starting out their YouTube channel?
I used to always live by the 3 C's, which was
Thinking Tackle Podcast.
Have we got any pictures of fish that he's got?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got them all on there already.
we've got a few,
All right,
yeah.
so you are actually
Kev's got a few to put up.
organised.
I have got a picture of me with a.
His first UK 50.
Should have saved
Well,
that.
I'm still going to
saved
use
that.
it.
It's gone.
I'm still going to use it. Don't worry.
I'm going to say you've used it earlier, really.
We constantly take the piss out of Spooner on this podcast because he's the only one of the 4 that hasn't caught a UK 50.
Oh, right, okay,
so
yeah.
we bring it up like every 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Can I join in on that?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. Yeah,
right,
of
good.
course. Can't wait.
Yeah, I wish that I wish now I'd sorted out like a superimposed one and gone, I mean, look at that.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
£57.
Yeah,
They're
great.
literally unbelievable.
Can we get going? We can get going. Right. So today we have got something a little bit different. We have got a bona fide celebrity in the Uncut studio, a true YouTube OG that's amassed an incredible following of over 11 million followers collectively across all of your YouTube channels. Which
11 million is mental.
pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
How many of them are still checking in every video? I don't know. I
Well, we
think a lot
don't
of them
know.
are quite sleepy,
But
but there's some there.
You've also got nearly 7 million followers on Instagram, which is even more mind-blowing. Obviously very well known for reaching the Strictly final, and you've written several novels.
Yes.
So welcome,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, thank
Joe
you.
Sugg.
Thank you very much.
Welcome,
yeah, thank
mate.
you. I think to a lot of people this will seem like one of the most oddest crossovers in history. but
I didn't actually know you've written novels.
That-
we can't even write a fishing book.
No, and we've got all the info.
No, they're graphic novels. Don't get excited. They're
Right.
not what you think they'll be.
What?
Okay.
But
Now he's
they're-
interested.
But they're like comic books,
Right,
But
okay.
like longer, I guess. But I
Okay.
did those like back in the day now. And
Oh,
then,
wow.
That's impressive though.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you. Yeah, it
impressive.
was an odd time of life where I think doing YouTube and getting in there so early, you had all these opportunities that would come along that we obviously would definitely never have had if it hadn't have been for sort of committing ourselves to this platform, which we had no idea where it could lead to, what could be done. So yeah, it's an interesting thing of how it sort of got to the place that it
Excuse
got to.
my ignorance. I'm still not a massive user of YouTube. So Reedy said you're an OG. How long have you had your channel?
I started in 2000. I started the channel in 2011, but then properly
right.
started in 2012. But I got into it through my sister. She's called Zoe, otherwise known as Zoella on YouTube. Back in the day, she started before I did. Growing up as kids, we were always very, very creative.
Yeah.
We used to always, I may say this all the time, we used to always buy blank cassette tapes from like Lidl or Aldi or wherever. But we've always loved like creating and filming and stuff. So when we discovered like you could upload videos to YouTube, it was quite an interesting time for us. And then my sister started before me, and at the time I was a full-time roof thatcher.
Yeah.
So I was an apprentice roof thatcher. I was learning the trade of how to make straw roofs basically, which I absolutely loved and didn't want to stop. But it got to a point where I think I had something like 1.1 million followers, I think, or subscribers on YouTube.
And how quick was that? How quick did you amass that following?
It happened quite quick because I was quite lucky that like I said, my sister started before I did, so she already started to gain an audience, and I appeared in a few of her videos, and then she was like, I think you should start your own channel. So I made my first video, and a lot of her audience came across to watch my video. So I think my first video, instantly got between like 5 to 10,000 views. I did have definitely had like a boost up from my sister.
Yeah.
But it sort of gave me then the tools to just sort of having that sort of thing of like, okay, right, I work all week on the roof, but then on a Saturday night I will film a video, put it out on Sunday, and then go from there. And so I just got into a rhythm of uploading every Sunday, and then that lasted for, God, must be 6 or 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think that's really important though, that people, that, like you said, it took you 6 years, like your 6 years of uploading every Sunday? It feels like to me now that people don't give it the time to succeed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like people want it really quickly, and it's like you've got to sort of not pay your dues, but you've got to do it for a long period of time and be really consistent for you to get that amount of followers.
Definitely. I think especially because back then we had YouTube, but then we had Twitter and Instagram. Instagram was very new at the time, and Facebook, but there was no Instagram stories, there was no shorts. It was just static pictures or tweets. So there wasn't that sort of like instant gratification in a way. Like I feel like nowadays on things like TikTok and shorts and stuff and reels, you expect that sort of instant. I don't know. Like
things can happen
more.
quicker.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's more. You hear stories of people that you're one TikTok away from going viral and blowing up and all that kind of stuff. So I think. Whereas with YouTube, I guess it's similar but different in a way. There's a lot more. I think YouTube is the hardest to do it right and do it well, because you have to spend a lot more time in the edit.
We sort of find ourselves in a weird position with YouTube, because obviously we're a company and not just one person doing vlogs. So we never really we put like an array of content on there really. From like master classes that are teaching people how to fish, thinking tackles that are just like nice fishing videos, and now we're trying to do sort of competition style stuff that's like shorter edits, quicker turnaround. But we never really know whether we're doing it right, because it's like there's no one really else in fishing that are doing it bang on apart from Carl, who's much like you, I suppose, which is a single person with a large following now, because he's done it for such a long period of time and he's really good at it.
Yeah.
Would you say back when you first started it, because nowadays I would say a lot of people are putting, like you say, they want it quick, but they're putting all their eggs in that basket to make it big on YouTube as a legitimate job. Back then, was you looking at it like that, or was it just literally having fun and no thoughts at all about it being a career?
Initially, no, I did it because I just thought it'd be really cool to have followers, and just like I don't know, I just thought it'd be like a cool thing to try and experience. I knew that I enjoyed that kind of creating and trying to make people laugh as well. A lot of my videos back then, and always kind of have been, is to just entertain people. But then I remember when I got my first like paycheck through from YouTube, and I think it was like £40 or something. And I remember saying like, okay, whatever. I remember saying like, I remember saying to my friends like, whatever I earn from YouTube is for beer money, for when we go to the pub and like for getting rounds in and things like that. And it didn't last very long. No. after a few months, I was like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. No. But
I'm getting 40 from YouTube and ironing out 480 in a pub. It's not a great business.
Everyone then turns to me like, it's your round again. But it all sort of happened very, very quickly. But I think I was very lucky that because my sister was always kind of a few steps ahead down that sort of career path, it really helped. It helped so much to have somebody there that I could speak to for advice or to have guidance from.
As far as siblings go, are you like one of the biggest in the UK for social media following on YouTube?
I mean, Zoe probably takes up, I'd say, like 85% of that side.
That's pretty scary.
But
how many followers has she got then?
Yeah.
She has over 10 million subscribers on one of her channels, because she got this like a diamond. When you get over 10 million followers, you get a diamond play button.
Wow.
We're close lads, aren't we?
Yeah, get in there.
We've got it.
You'll get there.
Not long now.
You're going to blow up soon.
I'm sure that now there's probably other siblings, because that's the thing with YouTube. There's so many channels out there that now that there's some that you would never know. They're in like some sort of like niche.
My kids watch this thing. It's like this hamster maze thing, And they basically put hamster and you just watch a hamster go around this maze, and I absolutely love it. And it's got millions and millions of
Is
views.
it a real hamster?
Yeah, it's a real hamster, and they just like create this little maze for it. It's ridiculous.
It's mate, you
But they
sit in
absolutely
here
love
and
it.
have pre-production meetings,
Yeah, it's
and then
like
another
watch-
pre-production, then go out and shoot a film and come and spend 4 weeks editing it.
Yeah.
Someone's
just
putting a
bunged
hamster on a wheel and ironing you out for views. That is soul destroying.
It
isn't
is. It's mad. But you
Yeah.
have got weird channels like that.
But it is even with you, Joe. Like because I've sort of known of you from much later on, like you say, from like the Strictly stuff and that.
Yeah.
But then talking to some of the people that work here, some of the girls now, oh, I know Joe. I used to follow him all the time when I was like 11.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I get more of now. Is like I remember the first time I walk into a shop and someone going like, "Oh my god, I used to watch you when I used to love watching your videos," and sort of being like, "What do you mean used to?"
Yeah.
I got like really sort of like, "Oh no," it's like being shot. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it hurt." And then I realised like, yeah, I am getting old. I'm 30.
Yeah.
I'm 34 this year.
Yeah.
And so like the people that watched me back in the day, like 10 years ago, they're now, you know,
Same,
older,
yeah.
responsibilities,
Yeah.
and maybe even their own kids. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like it's nice though that I think also part of being lucky at getting in there early and having an audience that sort of grew up with us. It's like me with like Dick and Dom. I saw one of them, Dick or Dom, not that long ago, and I was like, oh my! I've been saying to him outside a radio thing, being like, I loved In the Bungalow. I grew up watching you, like, and you don't. The people that you grew up watching, they always are kind of like with you to a
Yeah.
degree, and like you sort of
Yeah.
don't forget them. They were like part of your
Childhood,
like
yeah.
nostalgia
Yeah.
as well, which I think when we get to a certain age, we start to look back and go, oh, good old days. Like, how did-
Oldies.
What's that like coming from someone that's obviously you're still incredibly followed now compared to the average person, but what's that like going from that like super following, like you're saying, from that younger audience, then it plateauing out and now totally different audience now, like how does that feel like in yourself having that?
It's a bit of it took a bit of getting used to in a way, because I think when we started doing all this, there was no one that had already done it sort of before us enough to go, oh, by the way, when you get to a certain age, you know, it's never gonna always go like this. You're gonna
Yeah.
have days where you sort of, it does eventually plateau. So we never really had anything less. We had to just sort of experience it firsthand. So I think it definitely took a while to sort of be like, okay, like you see some people that adapt and change and are then making content for a specific audience or trying to capture a new younger audience. And I think for me, I was like, I don't want to force myself to continue making, like, cause I used to do like a lot of prank videos as well with my roommate and do things like I'd fill his room with like 1,000 balloons when he was out, so he'd come home and he'd have to like
Cracking.
I love
That sounds like it sounds like here.
Yeah.
That goes on here quite a bit.
I'd sellotape like one single toothpick to his door, so he'd use that to pop all the balloons to find all his valuables and stuff. Or I'd set like mouse traps in his bathroom and put his house keys on the other end of the bathroom, so you had to go for all the mouse traps.
I've got a lot of time for that.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
He's
Yeah.
like, now we're talking.
Yeah, come on,
Now
more
I'm saying
then.
it now.
Yeah.
Like, actually, yeah. But I was like, I don't know. I feel like I would struggle to still do the sort of like that stuff, or the stuff that was aimed at that sort of aged audience now, because that's not who I am as well. You've got to kind of like do what you're interested in doing.
Yeah.
That actually leads me on to one of the things I was going to ask you is that obviously you've got your vlog channel and you're putting a lot of fishing on there now. I was actually watching a couple of them last night.
That is why I'm here, by the way.
I was going to try and turn it into fishing.
People
Yeah,
going, why have you got this YouTube on?
It's on my
about fishing.
It is on my next video. I was just about to go onto it.
There's nothing on that.
No, but it was like obviously you've got a following of people that followed you for something else,
Yeah.
and now you're putting fishing on that channel.
Yeah.
And how has fishing been received? Now you're super into it. Is it because you're so into it and you're so like you're just happy about being there? Does that relate to them and they enjoy watching it?
I think so. Do you know what? I was very interested. I mean, before putting any fishing content out there, because long story short, I used to go fishing a lot with my dad as a kid, and that's what initially got me into it. And then sort of life changed, picked up various different hobbies and stuff, and that kind of thing.
There you are. Look
Yeah,
at
there
the
we
size
are.
of that trout.
Yeah, There you go.
Very
It's,
blonde hair as well.
Very
I know,
blonde.
Yeah.
That
And
is a really big trout.
garden mid-reno by the look of it.
It doesn't look alive.
But then again, I was a very,
No,
very
no.
small child, so it might have been an average size trout. I don't know.
He
And
still
I'm-
looks pretty big.
And I'm doing the
Does look
trick
big.
of holding it further out.
That's it.
That's my dad
you
told
knew
me
from
that.
a young
Yeah,
age all
yeah.
them tricks.
But this was before the days of digital cameras as well. So this was, I had to really sort of, it was a one chance, get the shot.
Yeah, it looks great.
I nailed it.
And I think I didn't eat it. I don't actually eat fish.
Okay.
It's one of my least favourite foods.
It's quite good. At least it didn't lead on
But-
to you going, that's why I've started again. I
Yeah.
love common carp.
Yeah,
I
I
just-
love eating
with
carp.
chips, they're so nice.
So I was into fishing back then. It was a good thing, like bonding with my dad and that kind of thing, and just like just something that was so different. And the experiences I had sitting on the riverbank or on a lake, I absolutely loved it. And but then got back into it last year. A friend of mine who lives not far from me, he was like, should we start going fishing? And I was like, I'd absolutely love to. And I kind of forgotten everything I knew when I was a kid. I learnt like the very basics and stuff, and I forgot everything about it.
Okay, what's going on
So-
here?
What
Give me
is
I do know that.
What
I
are
know
you
the backstory
doing?
to this, actually. This is how Joe sent this photo in, by the way. So,
I edited that on.
do you want to explain to the people that are listening and not
Quickly.
watching?
Yeah, so-
quick?
Yeah, so this is actually like one of my first fishing trips I did this year, and it's my first ever bite during the night. I've never done night fishing before
Really?
until that day, and so my
was you asleep?
I was
Yeah.
fast asleep, and I was also too hot. It was like October, but it wasn't cold at all, and I had this new sleeping bag thing. What do you call it?
Like a thermal one?
No, like what do you call the sleeping bags on legs?
Oh, bed chair.
Bed, yeah.
Yeah,
bed,
you've got like a sleep system.
Sleep system.
A bed chair on legs is better though.
Yeah, I
Sleeping
prefer
bag
that.
on legs, sorry,
If
yeah.
we bring one out now, that's what it's going to be called.
I had this new sleep system, and I was too hot. It was like proper, and so I'd stripped off. I did have my pants on, as you can see on the side, but they were full of holes. So
your willy's hanging out.
So my minnow's hanging out. Yeah. So my bite line went off, ran down to the bank, caught this carp, took the photo, but I'm still like half asleep.
Yeah.
Still not quite with it. And then I didn't realise till looking back at the photo afterwards that
And you just had to
I'm
turn up
hanging
and get
out.
involved, Gubby, didn't
Yeah,
you?
you're always there.
Poked his egg through the leg, something in this one.
So why did you pick my face to put over your dick?
I think it suits it best.
That's class. It's nice
Incredible.
fish.
Yeah, no,
Nice
it's
fish.
It was. I think it was one of the only. Actually, no. There's three of us that go fishing. Like two other lads near me that sort of take me fishing. One of them knows his stuff and is like really into it and basically sort of holds my hand throughout everything.
That's what I do. Is
Yeah, that's what he does. We've done it for years. Really helpful, actually.
And the other one is we're both sort of on the similar level, so we've got a bit of a competition between us of who can catch the biggest carp and also it started off who can catch the most fish,
Yeah.
but then we decided bream don't count.
Agreed.
We've got a few
So-
more, haven't we, Kev? Have a little flick through a couple more.
What's your PB now then?
I'll have to get my notes out. I think
Okay.
it'll be in my notes somewhere.
Find
I
it.
have to write
Kev's
down.
got a
I was
photo.
going to say £20.
No, I think it's going to say 50.
56.
Oh, well, now we're talking.
Oh, look
Three-
at that.
That's a nice one.
3 meters. No, that's sofa measurements.
yeah.
Fishing. There we go. Carp PB, 21 pounds 4 ounces.
Is it that one or is it the mirror?
That one,
It's that one. There you go.
which is when I was wearing the Korda
Thing is,
Oh, yeah, the salad
Yeah.
salapettes.
I was praying you was going to say £50 4 ounces.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely
Why is
praying.
that, Adam? Why were you praying that?
Well,
mate?
because that would have been nice to have another person here. So UK 50.
If
Oh,
I
that's
held- If I
brilliant.
held it a bit further away, then
Yeah,
maybe I could get
could've
away
got
with
away.
saying it.
So
But
who's winning the competition?
I am winning so far with
Okay.
that fish.
Brilliant.
As the biggest, not out of the three of us, but
No.
out of me and my mate who started at the same time.
How often are you getting to go? I know it's obviously you started again in October. Did
Started
you say,
sort of late summer,
Right.
But we went out to our local tackle shop, and even there, walking into that tackle shop, the smell of like a tackle shop,
Yeah.
instantly transported me back to being a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, do you know, I'm in the right place. I
Yeah.
instantly felt,
Yeah.
I was amazed at how much like gear there was to get my head around as to what does what, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, PVA bags, I forgot about those. And like different things that I remember so much as a kid, but then just completely forgot, and now I'm sort of like relearning again.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was like a kid in a sweet shop. But
there's so many people that do that. They get into it when like we've just come back from a fishing show at the weekend, and loads of people around our age, really, sort of mid-30s to 40, I suppose, are into it massively as a kid. Life takes over in your 20s and your 30s. Yeah. You start going out when you're 20, then you start having kids and that in your 30s. Then later on, you can start going again, and they're taking their kids again, and they're in exactly the same spot as you, like into it, starting to get back into it again now. So it's like, and fishing's changed quite a lot. Like the basics and the essence are the same of it, but there are lots of new bits that people don't know about.
Oh,
that's a nice shot. Where is that a river?
That is a lake, not too far from me, but it looks like a river. But it's definitely a lake. It's like a lake that sort of goes around like a. I think they do use it a lot for like match fishing.
Yeah, you get
it
quite
looks
a
like
few
one of them
those.
perfect evenings. That
it does.
Yeah, so that was like. So when I got back, I got in at the time where I was like, beautiful summer evenings. My friend would finish work, we'd pack everything to his van and go down to the lake for a bit, and you'd have evenings like that. And I was like, this is what it's all about. And then November creeps in, and December, and I think, I'm going to take a slight hiatus and just wait for it to get a little bit warmer.
Are you getting close now? I mean, by the time this goes out, we'll have had lots of double-figure days. Yeah. Probably the odd double-figure night, I'd imagine. It's starting to look like spring.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
What's the plans with the sort of fishing vlogs then? Is it to maybe step them up in the spring, summer, and try and put them out a bit more regular?
I would love to, I think before I posted the first Instagram picture of me holding a fish, I did have this sort of moment, because like, I guess with my YouTube career, you're sort of put under a magnifying glass a lot by, especially if the bigger the audience you have, especially when I'm not in like a niche of like a certain topic. Like my videos have always been like entertainment, sort of light-hearted stuff. So if I ever try to go into like a show like a hobby that I have, I always get like a little bit nervous as to how it'll be perceived. So I did think before I posted, I think it was actually a picture like that.
That is a cracker, that.
Yeah, that is.
Before I posted that picture, I was like, I wonder how it's going to go down with my audience, because my audience don't know me for fishing at all. It's something that I really enjoy, and like the benefits that it has for me, like mentally, but also like socially as well, like meeting up friends and actually doing something together. Like I think it's really important, and I think it's really good for people. But I did have this sort of hesitation of being like, if I post this, I might get a load of people being like complaining that that might not like what I'm doing and things like that. So I did get a bit sort of like a bit nervous about it. I mean,
how did it go down?
I think it's fine. Like you have I had a few
a
few people that were a bit sort of anti it, and like they were sort of like a lot of like vegan profiles that were like that kind of thing, which I expected.
You can't please everyone though, and it's you.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to do it, and there's nothing wrong with it, just show it. It's like you said about the whole mental health thing. It's like fishing is like we spoke to a lot of people at the weekend again that fishing's deeply helped them out, and if you do it and it helps you out, and you can share it with people, and you can get more people into fishing, and you can help them out that way, I think that's more important than not putting it up because a vegan's going to have a go at you. Do you know what I mean?
I think you're right. Well, you are right.
And I think like that. Obviously, the monster carp, the stuff Cole does, the Mortimer Wise stuff, all that stuff now that seems to have come to the forefront a bit is obviously going to do nothing but good, is it? And hopefully, there's far more people praising it than there is giving it negative feedback. Isn't there?
Exactly. I've never been so like. I had actually after posting that that picture, Carl did message me, and he was like, so nice to see that you're into fishing and stuff, and which was really, really nice. So like I'd never seen, like I had like this sort of like wall of people following me all holding fish in their profile pictures, which I wasn't used to at all.
That's brilliant. So I
could
that's
tell
all
straight away.
We've got.
And then so many people saying like I didn't think you were into fishing, but it's so nice to see that you are into it and stuff like that. A lot of people were asking like if I ever want to go fishing with them to let them know. So in a way, it's like the community has been it's been really nice to sort of, I feel like they've sort of welcomed it with like open arms, which is nice. And I think, like you said, like the social side of fishing, like I could go fishing for 2 or 3 days, not catch anything, but if I'm with my mates and we're having a laugh,
doesn't matter.
That's the best thing. Yeah, that's why I think like shows like Bob and Paul, their fishing show, I watch that, but I don't really watch it for the fish. It almost seems like a byproduct of it. It's also like watching them
100%
have chats about like how they're feeling and things like that. I think that's like super important as well.
Absolutely. I will just say that photo there, you weren't probably won't know this, Joe, but in our industry, people try very hard to be carpy.
Right.
And that's about as carp as you get.
Yeah.
You've got a thermos flask, white trainers, and a massive torch on the floor.
And I would say that is one of the best sleeping bag on legs I've ever seen.
I would say that. That's the culprit.
And that my doormat is a bit of styrofoam. Styrofoam?
Yeah.
That was inside the sleeping bag on legs. So
brilliant. No, I love it.
Bin bag hanging up in the... I love that photo. It's great.
Oh, yeah, the bin bag in the bag.
It's not a pink hot water bottle to the left there as well, is it?
No, that's a bit of my bag. But I did have a hot water bottle in there as well. But
so what are the goals with the fishing? Have you got anything like you'd like to, like a type of fish you'd like to fish for, or a size of fish you'd like to catch?
I would like to... obviously, the bigger the carp, the better. I would like to try and catch a big carp. Yep. Ideally, I would like to... How big do carp go nowadays? What's like
in this country, over 60 pounds.
60 pounds.
Yeah.
What's that in? I don't work in kilograms for fish, but because I'd like to catch a fish that's almost my own body weight.
Okay, and what do you weigh?
I'm like around about 60 kilograms.
60 kilograms.
Okay, that would be over a world record.
Yeah.
60 kilograms.
We'll forget that. Yeah, I'm quite light.
That's really light.
I've got lots of layers on.
Yeah.
You could go to Thailand and catch a Siamese carp bigger than you.
Yes, you could.
There we go.
That's achievable.
So 60 kilo. What's that?
So 121.
Quick maths.
130
pounds. Yeah, you could catch a catfish that big.
I'd like to catch a fish that I almost can't hold.
You'll probably be surprised.
Like half my body weight.
You'll probably be surprised, having not done it yet, how hard it would be to hold up a 35-pound carp.
Yeah. Even that one, the one I caught my record so far.
Yeah.
That was my back afterwards. I was sort of laying in my bivvy thinking, actually, if my bite alarm goes off again. Because it happens a lot, doesn't it? If you catch one, usually they're going around in groups, aren't they? So there's a chance you're going to get another. Because I got my rod in and I was sort of like, oh god, I just need a break. And I was like, no, get your rod back out, because you might catch another one. And I'm led to my baby going, my back can't take it. So,
well, hopefully at some point this year we'll get out and do something filming wise, and I think we could catch you that.
I'd
big carp,
love to. Yeah,
which would be great.
A 30-pounder would be.
A 30-pounder.
Yeah.
But also I think. Just in terms of like the barbel that I caught, cause with my dad, he used to always go down to the river and catch barbel. And we go down like every evening to bait our swim, and then like on a Friday just hope that swim is free because we've been baiting it all week.
Brilliant.
We're going back again.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at that.
There's a barbel.
That's a big barbel.
I've not caught many barbel.
That was in Wiltshire, where I grew up, and it was a very good spot for barbel.
What river is that?
I want to say the Avon.
River
Avon.
Yeah.
But I love them because they're good like fighters as well.
Yeah.
And obviously in a river as well, there's so much that can go wrong with like weeds
flow
and things like that. Yeah. So
you were pretty happy there.
I was, yeah. Or either that or I'm holding a fart or something. Or maybe the fish is too heavy, I don't know. But yeah, so I'd like to catch different types of fish as well. But I would like to, I'm really enjoying the carp stuff at the moment, and just like the experience of going out with your mates and having like these little competitions and stuff, and I'd like to document that more and do more videos based around not so much like challenges, but just like figuring out what my sort of version of like fishing is and how I can make it fun for an audience that don't know me for fishing, but it might like ultimately if I can sort of get a lot of like youngsters that might want to give it a go, that's always a good thing. So
that's exactly what Korda is all about, is trying to get as many new people into the sport as possible. And we've just had a show this weekend, as you know, and it was amazing, wasn't it, just how many youngsters were at that show. I think the last two shows I've thought because you have that. I've had a few moments in the last couple of years where I thought there's just nobody coming through. It feels like everybody's the same age as me. But then all of a sudden, like the shows now, there's more people. And we did one of these podcasts on the stage both days, and loads of the questions were all from probably people under 10 years old.
Yeah,
I think it's keeping them though is the hardest thing, because you've got the parents will get the kids into it, and it's like not losing them to gaming and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it's like how do you keep them going?
But then it could be like the long play, because that's basically me. I was that age, loved fishing, then gaming happened and school and things like that. But then you eventually do come back to it. I think, especially when like you start having your own kids and stuff. Like I think it's sort of like a get them when they're early.
Yeah, sowing that seed, isn't it?
Yeah, they may go off and do other things for a bit, but if they've learnt how to do it, they'll then go, I wonder if I still remember how to fish. Then they go into their tackle shop, and then they get hit with the smell. Yeah, it all comes back, and then they get back into it. So
I've experienced that quite a few times with people that have never fished. It does. I don't think it matters if you think you want to do it at all, if you do take someone that hasn't got any interest and you stick a float out and it goes under, they literally like go, it's gone, quick, grab it, and all. They're just instantly, aren't they? They're into it.
Yeah, that was me and my mates. Me and my mate, first time we bought from the tackle shop, we bought like a 50 quid set that had like your float rod in, like all the basic stuff. And then the first time that float goes under, we were so excited. It was a bream, I think, as well. Or it was like small.
It doesn't matter though, does it?
But at that point, and I completely forgot like how slimy they are and how much they make your neck go all horrible and stuff like that. But there he is. There's the rod rest of dreams.
That takes me back. That rod rest. I reckon I used to leave those in the bank probably every other time when I went fishing as a kid.
The red one was one of mine that lasted the longest. The red bit of plastic.
Yeah,
but you know, we going by the maggots, and even catching the small little fish to begin with, it was such like a rush, and it sort of brought it all back, and it's all that it brings it all back, and it's still super exciting. I don't think there's ever a time where, especially for me, because I'm sort of getting back into it, there's not a single time that rod goes off that I'm not like super excited of what it could be, or even if it's not, you know, a whopper of a carp.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because it's still I
something. think if you're getting that message across in the vlogs you're doing already and the ones you're going to be doing going forward, I think it'd be really interesting to see how many new people with your following think, I'm just going to have a go at that and see what it's like. Yeah. And all of a sudden they're hooked, and you're getting messages.
And also knowing that you're not going to get it all right straight away. There's a lot to learn about it, which I'm still learning now. And there's, you know, like how to hold a fish, and like obviously things like carp care and all that, making sure that everything's being done correctly. And there's all stuff that sort of I'm learning as I'm going, but being out there with somebody that sort of knows what they're doing and stuff, who can teach you. Once you've learned that, you've got the skills then to go out and go off on your own if you want to and stuff. But it's easily accessible, and everyone seems to be like super helpful as well. Like even going to the tackle shop, the guys that work there, they're super. They tell you what you need. Like they give you like all the info you sort of need to get going. And
it's all there now, isn't it? Like YouTube's so great for that, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you stay on YouTube, like any discipline really you wanted to learn in fishing, whether it be float fishing, feeder fishing, carp fishing, whatever. There's the
truth is out there.
Yeah,
the truth is there.
Yeah. You don't. I mean, you do have to learn it because you've still got to do it practically. But the actual knowing what to do there's no excuse anymore, is there? It's definitely out there.
Exactly. I recently learned about wraps and like. My mate asked me if I want to go on his spod rod, and I was like, "What, are you coming on to me?" What's your spod rod? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
go on.
But I've learned how to do all that stuff, and it's stuff that I never knew about. But now, like all the stuff that you learn, it's just fun. It makes you excited to go out and try different methods and trying out different techniques to see if they work.
I'm almost jealous you're at that stage. I'm just sitting here listening, like getting really excited because I know all the amazing things like that are to come for you. Like as the fish get bigger and you get more confident and your casting develops and everything, there's no way you're not just going to get more and more into it.
And I'm going into it as well with being like, obviously I want to learn this stuff, but I also want to be as sort of. I don't want to ever think that I know what I'm doing, if that makes sense. Because the more I'm sort of like still kind of oblivious to it, I don't know, it sort of keeps that. What's the right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like the fun of learning is the best bit, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to like sort of go into it too quick. I like to sort
don't
of
want to know it all like Tom.
I'd rather.
You can never do that too much of that type of content either, because most people are in that position and not in the position that we're in. And actually sometimes it's quite hard to go back to that and teach people all of the bits they need to know to get started.
We take too much for granted, don't we?
Yeah, you forget what you... I don't know
what you know.
You forget what you've known for a long time, and that other people don't. So I think it's amazing if you do them vlogs. There'll be lots of people following you that are in the same spot as you, and it makes them feel comfortable about asking the questions or even just knowing, how to start.
That's I have a lot of. I'm always asking questions of stuff, and then they can show me, and I go, I still don't understand it, but I'll go along with it. And I think also going in thinking that because you get like beginner's luck a lot in fishing as well. Like if you go out for the first time, there's a good chance you're going to catch the biggest fish of the day, just the way it works. So I always go into it still thinking...
Not for me.
I always go into it just thinking, this is my first time fishing. And then I just hope that's going to help catch a big fish.
I think that's why Cole is just so successful at what he does, because he's clearly like very, very competent, great angler. But I always feel like every film he makes, he's he's trying to show it like he's doing it all for the first time, so that people can really follow everything he's doing step by step. So he's not faking not knowing what he's doing, but he's trying to make it as layman terms as possible. Whether it's setting up the float and casting out, he's almost going through it all again for the first time himself. I think that's why he does such a good job. For especially people getting into fishing.
It's really super relatable, isn't he, Carl?
Yeah, I binge watched a lot of his videos when, like, towards the end of last year, especially when I wasn't going out myself. I'd sit there and watch a lot of his videos.
Still needed your fix.
Still want to feel like I am going fishing, and that's what his videos do. You feel like you are sort of sat there next to him, experiencing it all, and the way he tells a story through fishing as well, I think is top notch. It's really good. Is
it something that you might get Diane out doing in the summer or not?
Do you know what she did say? What was it? There was one time where she goes, shall I come with you fishing this weekend? Or something. I was going out with my mate, and she asked if she'd come along, and I was like,
no.
No.
Don't be stupid.
And my first reaction is, what have you done wrong? Because I thought maybe she's done something wrong, and she's like, I'll come with you if you want. I'm like, something's not right here. But I think
to dancing the carp fishing for us, all right?
I think she'd enjoy it for the first 20 minutes, and then I think it's the patience and the waiting around sometimes. If you can't sort of, I think she'd struggle slightly with the sometimes knowing that you could sit there for a day and
I think that's where
anything.
The different disciplines of fishing are great, because if you went somewhere with a pint of maggots and a float rod, you could catch fish for almost as long as you wanted to. But the reasons you're going at the minute with your carp rods out is giving you that downtime in between bites to socialise with your friends. And that's the beauty of it. There's something for absolutely everybody.
I mean, I use it also as an opportunity to like practice cooking as well. Like bring down all the food, and I just think, right, whilst we're waiting, I might as well try and learn how to cook this, or do you know what I mean, and do stuff like that. So that's the thing. If you're with like a good bunch of mates as well, and you're doing it with people that you can have a laugh with, you're never going to be bored waiting around. And sometimes like the bite can almost like interrupt your fun and stuff like that. It's all about just sort of knowing, being around a solid group of mates and
knowing what you do about YouTube, and obviously being on it for so long. Do you feel like it's being done to the best of its ability on YouTube? Like when you watch it, it's like almost like a pro YouTuber, if you like. Is there anything you've spotted that you think this someone could be doing this better, or I think this could be better
in fishing? In
fishing, yeah.
I think because I'm still quite new to it, I'm almost seeing it as like I'm coming into
a new world,
your world. So like I don't feel like I'm in a position where I can be like, you need to change this for success, because it is sort of very sort of tailored area of YouTube. I think I've always liked the idea of, and only partly because I'd love to be in it, but like like how in golf they have like the pro-ams type thing where they match like a professional up with like someone who doesn't know what they're doing. I don't know if it's already been done before.
It's called Monster Carp.
Well, there we go.
Tom takes me out every week.
But like a
lot of people say that.
And
we did actually start that versus series in the beginning because we were going to take like normal carp anglers out with us and have a match, if you like. But there's always the worry that they're not going to be very good on film. And that's quite hard to do for the first time, because it took us years to get used to it. And then you think, are you risking going out with somebody that are going to be really shy on camera and you don't get a very good film? But I suppose you'd have to sort of like trial them beforehand, maybe, or something. I don't know.
I'll cast it for you. I'll
cast
it. Because when I did post that picture, I did have a lot of people that reached out to me saying like, I didn't know you were into fishing, who also had like a sort of profile themselves that also do it, but they do it more for like the
release.
Exactly. And they've all said like, if you go again, I'd love to come with you, or I'd love to go like fly fishing with you, or try all this kind of stuff out. So I would love to sort of like band a few together and be like, let's have like a day or like a competition where we all fish the same lake, but we partner everyone up. So but the thing is like because even now when I've got a fish on, I start to panic and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, is my bail arm over and all that kind of. I start like panicking about everything, and I've got the guy who knows what he's talking about sort of coaching me through it, and whatever he'll do, he does not want to take over. He won't. Sometimes I go like, can you just hold, and he's like, no, this is yours, you've got to land it yourself. which makes me panic even more.
Yeah.
But like that kind of moment, I think it's quite funny when like the person who really knows what they're doing everything in their power not to get involved and take over, but they're having to like coach somebody in the moment when it's happening. And I think that could be quite fun with like a lot of pros and a lot of people who maybe like have like a following or a known, but watching them all sort of like panic in the moment of trying to land a, you know.
Well, we can shoot a
£40.
pilot for that at some point this year, can't we? Like, you know, we can go out and do something. It'd be something similar to that. Take you maybe to a lake you haven't fished before with big carp in. With a different style of angling to what you've been doing. So obviously you've been fishing quite small waters. Maybe going to a big water later in the year would be great.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'll band together some names.
Yeah. Rally the troops.
There we go.
What about for I know you're saying you feel like you're walking into our world when it comes to fishing YouTube, but is there any tips you would give to somebody that's just starting out their YouTube channel? Because at the moment, really, there's only Carl that's doing any good. Oh, no, that's not fair. Actually, there's a number of them, but I feel like the kids are not getting into it, or if they do, they give up too quickly. Is there something that you would say to them guys? Because we obviously want lots of youngsters coming through on YouTube pushing fishing, but they're just not there, or they're not succeeding. So is there anything you might say to them?
I used to always live by the 3 C's, which was consistency. You've got to be consistent. And the thing with YouTube is you're not going to have a hit off the first video or even the first 100 videos potentially. Like, you've got to stick at it and be consistent. But then the consistency is more important with the other 2 as well, which is collaboration and creativity. So you've got to, if you look up to, you know, like you guys or Carl or whoever else it is online that make fishing content, sort of you can always take bits that really, really work and you like, but then try and do something that's slightly different in that area and think about what people aren't doing in that space yet, or if there's any way you can make your content different. Because I think if people try to be like, I'm going to make stuff exactly like Carl, they've already got a Carl. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be very difficult for them to be invested into you, especially if you're small and just starting out. So try and think of ways in which you can make your content different or stand out in that area. And then also collaboration is important. And it doesn't have to be with other people that have already got big channels, but also just like finding the people that you work really well with. Like for me, the 2 lads that I go fishing with, they're I mean, some of them they're not quite there yet. I mean, listen to this as well. But they're fine to be on camera and stuff. And then but also it's like capturing the natural sort of banter and stuff. That's what people relate to and like, that's for me when I watch fishing content and stuff. Obviously I like watching the fish get caught and stuff like that, but also it's the banter between people and like all that kind of stuff. So finding like a group that you can work with, and if they have got channels as well, that's great, but just to initially build you, but then also to, you know, once you've sort of started going, you've been doing it for a while, try and find other, you know, message other channels and speak to other people that have got like a following that may want to collaborate with you and do something with you. And if you've got that unique creativeness to your content, you're doing something slightly different, that's more appealing to other people to collaborate with then as well, because you got your own thing.
Yeah, very good tip. That
is a good tip, Joe. I know you're a busy man. I think that's a really nice place to finish. Where can people find you if they want to have a look at these vlogs?
They can find me on YouTube, Thatcher Joe Vlogs. Still got the Thatcher in there, which is a bit. There's a lot of people that are sort of like think that I'm some sort
that
of
nostalgia's nice though, isn't it?
Or like a political. They think it's like to do with Maggie, but it's not. It's
and I know Josh behind the screen over there said yesterday, that's the dream job. What a job!
Oh, the Thatching.
Yeah, the Thatching.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I've had more people like throughout my whole career. I could explain YouTube to them and they're like, oh, great, cool. But when I said that I used to be a roof thatcher, that's what they're always more interested in. They're like, whoa, tell me how that works.
Well, you can't drive past one of them without going, oh,
yeah.
You can't.
It's so lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks like a fire hazard.
Yeah.
Very hard to insure.
But thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. It's been great.
We can't wait to do some bits with you later on in the year.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for...
we'll continue supporting you and we look forward to watching many more vlogs throughout the year.
Amazing. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Nice one.